we have his statement said we're in a state of war, but we have a state of emergency. At this point in time that he has stepped forward to say this is the situation, do you think a full state of emergency should then be imposed on Borno State, just so that the military can go ahead and do the things they need to do? Also, taking into cognizance the statement by Dr. Dunyokupe that the military is hindered by civilian presence.
Well, I mean, there are many things here. There's no full or partial or half state of emergency. State of emergency, state of emergency. It just says that, you know what, right now we're going to invoke certain powers to do certain things. Okay? Now, how do you apply those powers? Is the employment of those powers that's at issue now. You remember when the SOE was first declared in May, it was very effective because then BH was standing frontally to fight and they were worsted. So they beat a retreat. And so they now went and regrouped and even faked the death of Shekau. You know, they now went back and regrouped and now said, okay, you know what we'll do, we'll change our tactics. So while we are, our emergency resources are concentrated on the highways because we are expecting them to come on the highways in those 47-car convoy, they are not doing that anymore. They come through the bush path. They use Hilux vehicles, they come through the bush path, attack one village. So, but the key thing here is that the death toll is mounting.
I don't know. I mean, sorry to interrupt.
No problem,
train of thought. How did they get the vehicles? I mean, vehicles are not needles.
Exactly.
People can say 57 vehicles. I mean, Hilux vehicles, cars, and then motorbikes. Where did all that equipment come from?
Exactly. That's a good one. That's good logistics. So it means also that they have, logistics planners in their group, which, I mean, of course, that has been proven over and over. Because every time they go, just look at the reports from even the government of attacks by BH, they will tell you that the kind of logistics they deploy, even now they are deploying technicals too. That is vehicle-mounted machine guns.
Do they have a barracks of their own or what?
I have no idea, Chamberlain. But the point is, thank you. Just your question. Obviously they have staging areas. They have capability. That they have resourcing. You know, and they are even able to resupply. That's why I mentioned a country like Cameroon that's not working well with Nigeria in this regard. Because if you stage in Cameroon, that whole area, Madagali local government, Goza, Cameroon, they are all contiguous. You just drive across and then you go and do havoc and then go right across the border. So you have a safe haven. So I think what we need to do here is probably rev up on the diplomatic front and say to Cameroon, look, if this thing continues, then we're going to have to, it's going to affect our diplomatic relations. Because it's really, Chad is working with Nigeria, Niger, even where they have many of their camps, and if you remember, Mohammed Yusuf used to have emirs even in Niger and Chad. But Niger is working with Nigeria too in trying to tackle BH. But Cameroon is intransigent in this.
One of the things you mentioned is that they faked the death of Shekau. Have we confirmed that Shekau is not dead?
Well, Shekau just he just spoke. Well, I don't have in confirmation, but he put out a video of himself, that is Shekau speaking, saying that the cleric who was shot February 1st, who was shot dead along with his wife and child, and February 1st in Kaduna, Sheikh Awal Albani, that was BH. So I mean, Shekau is speaking. Shekau issued some threats just within the last 24 hours too. I won't mention those. We
do know that after that release by the army, there were subsequent videos, and the army did say that the character of the person who's posing as Shekau doesn't seem to fit with the Shekau that they had previously known. I mean, while they clarify they are on that, but just also quickly, do you think that we are underestimating the reach and network of Boko Haram? Exactly.
We are dealing with an international crisis. We are dealing with an international.
And as a matter of fact, I mean, one even wonders, because time and again we get to see people talk about what do you call it? Trying to get my train of thought back now. So let's say people talk about intelligence,
yes,
and security and all of this matter. What if, because we're not privy to the kind of intelligence that is being given to the president.
Okay.
What if security agencies are on a regular basis handing down intelligence to the executive office, and perhaps they don't see as much action as they ought to see? So if that were the case playing out, how do we handle that kind of situation?
Well, I think development of intelligence and capitalization on that intelligence, that is decision making on intelligence, are two different things. Now, the collection, coding, transmission, all the things that is done in the intelligence community, those are just the production effort. But then those intelligence, they have to go to the military leadership, and then ultimately to the political leadership, where decisions are made whether to capitalize on them or not. So these are matters of political choice, which is at the what do you call it, discretion of the executive,
because
on what to choose and what not to choose. So, but I think if again, I'm sorry, I keep going back to the same word. If there is better intellection, if there is better understanding of the problem, then the choices we make will be much improved.
Yeah, because part of the question is if they've been able to restrict them to Borno, some towns, maybe Bama or Konduga, as it were, because initially it was widespread, much more than that.
Yeah.
So if they've been able to restrict them to that, some sort of intelligence certainly is involved in all of this. So why is it that these two other areas, or that location now, seems to be giving us problems?
Well, I think Dr. Kukpa mentioned it just now. He said that the terrain is quite forbidding, and the terrain makes it difficult for you to really be sure that you have secured it. And again, like I said, they have a safe haven. They can always use their safe haven, even with their Hilux vehicles and stuff. They can use their safe haven. They can escape, and then because what they are using right now is classic guerrilla tactics. They just do stealth attacks, go take over. But what I worry about is why is it that it takes so long? Like the governor just said, it took 5 hours. They took 5 hours in Konduga. Bama, the same thing. They take so long. They are burning the Shehu of Bama's palace. They are burning local government headquarters. They are burning schools. They are burning places of worship. You know, and then they are celebrating it. And in some instances, in some attacks, they will carry away 100, 200 heads of cattle. They take cattle away.
Emergency in these states.
They take cattle away and go and celebrate, do feast.
I remember that Bama was a town that came under attack, and the army came under heavy criticism.
Yes, that was in May.
Last year. You know, for is it what they said was worse than what the army had actually admitted, that they had actually raised down many civilian homes and many civilians had been felled. Oh, that was Baga.
That was Baga. That was just.
But Bama also did come.
Yeah, Bama in May last year.
So you would think
on the
that
7th of May, 303 Tank Battalion, and the whole city came under attack, and they killed 55 that day, including a new bride. I'm sorry.
Have they infiltrated the military?
Well, the former chief of army staff said there were 4th columnists. If you remember the attack that occurred against the military convoy going to Mali when they were passing through Okene in Edo State, it was they were given out by some 5th columnists within the military, and those people were tried and I think punished appropriately because they were caught and they were tried and punished. The attack. Well, okay, let me leave that. That's a different. That is police. But I wanted to just say, by the way, the attack on police and SSS men by Ombase, also in May last year, it had a lot of police personnel who gave information to the cultists, and they killed those 100 personnel. So the answer to your question is yes, there is infiltration. So, but that's normal. That in a military the size of Nigerian military, you should expect that some guys have sympathies. That's normal. So we do what we call force protection. There's a way of policing the military within the military, and they do it. They catch bad guys within the military. They may not announce all of it, but they do catch bad guys within the military, because that's why they have military intelligence people. They have military police. They have military provost personnel. So they do internal soul searching. They do internal scanning for bad apples, and when they find them, they get rid of the bad apples.
You know, just before we go, I know we're about to be round off now. Perhaps we should congratulate you on the ordeal that you you escaped through. You definitely came out with I don't want to say
scars of war.
This is something to remember, but is it something you want to share? Any lessons you want to share from that incident?
Well, I think the attack was unfortunate. I think the police agency must ensure that people don't go out hurting people, pretending to be actual policemen, because the people who stopped me that day, they were all in police uniform. And so I believe they were policemen. I submitted myself to search and everything, but they turned out to be kidnappers. So I think the police agency has to also kind of look inwards, and then we need to improve policing really, generally, particularly in Edo State, where we know now is a hotbed of this kind of criminal attacks. Having said that, the health infrastructure in Nigeria is a problem. It's in deep trouble because it couldn't. I mean, I'm a very patriotic Nigerian. I would love to stay here and get treated, but it couldn't handle my case. It wasn't prepared. It didn't have anything. You know, it was a shame. Even when I came to Lagos, yeah, they had cleaner hospitals here in Lagos, but it was fairly much the same thing. No equipment, so I had to jump on a big bird and fly to the United States, you know, to get treated. So I think we need to do something about our health infrastructure in this country, because it's not serving us well, and people will die. In fact, if I had done my surgery here, the final one, the flap, I would have probably died, because there were so many, about 7 infections in the hand, which were not accounted for. But when I got to the United States, they were able to culture the wound and found that I had all kinds of bacteria and fungi in the hand, you know, which I, you know, came in contact with as I was trying to escape from my attackers.
Well, thank you.